Gotta keep track of our FOI.
Oh my God.
Did you see the article in the paper this morning about they're moving their facilities for the umpteenth time since 1975? It's so disruptive what they're doing in Hartford. I don't know how they keep spending millions of dollars upgrading their rental space. Oh, well.
Well, that's the Bronin. We're going to have
Let's not go there. Too
segregation.
early in the meeting.
We're going to have desegregation of the zoning.
All right. Okay.
Going to put a low-income project up there next to people.
Let's save that for later. Correct.
Huh.
It's not funny, actually. It's kind of pathetic.
Nope.
Is anybody going to be available on the 31st to participate with a COG?
I registered.
Okay, yeah, I did too. We shall see. It's funny, our representatives, the senator and the representative here from town, we haven't heard any, I haven't seen any correspondence to any of the commissions about what they're, trying to put forward. It's kind of a strange deal.
Is that going to be a Zoom deal?
Yes, yeah. Sign up.
Okay,
I'll send you the link.
I'm apprehensive about driving somewhere. That's
No. It's a Zoom thing, Craig. Yeah.
Yeah, well, put me.
I'll send you the connection
Link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I would have attended that thing at. I thought it was there.
The Middletown, yeah.
I just don't have. I'm not mobile.
Well, I mean that kind of a presentation is best served right by what we're doing with the Zoom.
I agree with that 100%. I would have done it.
Yep. Any word from John, Pam?
No.
All right.
Well, we got 4, don't we?
Yeah, well, we got enough people here for we can get it going and roll it in. All right. Well, are you broadcasting with?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. We'll call the March 22nd, 2021 meeting to order. It's about 3 minutes after 7. As I mentioned, Will had just called me. He's not going to be available. And Jerry is not going to be available. So when John comes in, we'll put him in place of Jerry Martinez. Do we have anybody signed up for any public comment, Pam?
No.
No. All right. Agenda review. Any comments about that?
No.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Peter.
None. No, I haven't.
Okay. All right. So public hearing PZC number 20-30 special permit 149 Newfield Road. What's the status on that, Pam?
If someone will make a motion to just continue it. They did go before wetlands and they requested a continuance before from planning and zoning.
I make a motion, we continue it.
All right. Art's
I'll
motion. Who seconded? Craig?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Any comments? All in favor? Just put your hand up. Very good. Thank you. We've got old business, which we have never really started the process with the PZC 21-01 special permit, which was continued for 100 New Hartford Road. Any more information on that, Pam?
No, they are also currently before wetlands, and I imagine they hope to have their wetlands approval at the April meeting, April 21st. Yep. John, just for the record, John Cooney has just arrived.
Okay, John. John.
George.
Yes, sir.
One second. In the thing, Pam, you have it continued till April 12th, and you just said the 23rd. So which date?
It'll be the 23rd, or is that right? I'm not looking, but let's see. Yeah, it'll be after the wetlands regular meeting.
So it'll be our second meeting in April.
Uh-huh.
Do we need a motion for that?
No, because you haven't even accepted it yet, because,
It's been an incomplete application. with
yeah,
the
so you don't
appropriate-
have, I mean, there's time, so, I would just leave it on the agenda as a placeholder, because it has to have a public hearing before you folks.
Okay, we just don't want to lose it to an automatic approval. But it's
No,
a
with special permit,
permit,
you
so it
don't,
won't do it.
yeah,
No.
you won't
All
have
right.
that risk.
John, I'm going to seat you for Jerry. He's called in and wouldn't be available tonight, so you'll be seated for this. Okay, so new business, anything that we have there, Pam?
No, there's no
No,
new
okay.
business, no.
So approval of minutes of, it's listed as February 8th, but it's March 8th.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. Got too many hats on.
Mhm.
Can we have a motion to approve the minutes of March 8th, 2021? They were in the packet.
I'll make
I'll
a motion.
And who seconded?
I'll second it.
Okay. Craig second. Any comments, corrections, deletions? All in favor?
I have to abstain.
Okay, Art abstained. Communications, Pam?
I don't have any communications.
Okay. Your staff report?
I haven't prepared a formal staff report. Sometimes I forget whether or not I've reported, but I don't think I've advised this commission that the woman who had chicken and pies, I've talked about chicken and pies for some time. She has signed a contract on that former Wendy's building next to Cumberland Farms.
Mhm.
She's not going to be doing a chicken and pies. She's going to be doing a different type of fast, like hot dogs, hamburgers, because she has that window
Yeah.
that she's going to be able to utilize. Now, do they need, it's town center, and if I'm not mistaken, I know it's not a special permit. It may be at worst a site plan visit, or it might be permitted through a zoning permit, but I believe it's a site plan because it's been more than 6 months.
Okay.
But I'll help her when she's ready, but you folks should be able to approve it in one meeting. I told her to make decisions on her signs, so that we can get that all reviewed
Yeah,
as part of the
this
site
shouldn't
plan.
be an exotic approval. It's why we've had Wendy's in there and we've had multiple occupants with that same kind of operation.
And she's been focused on Winchester for some time, as I've
Okay.
reported. So
Right.
yeah, so it is good news for that area. I signed a zoning permit for a new retail shop on Main Street in the old Winchester Hotel. That retail shop is Live. She formerly occupied out of or operated out of New Hartford. Some of the EDC commissioners were familiar with that store in New Hartford. So she'll be opening soon.
This is on the CBD corner.
Yes. Yep.
They're already, I saw somebody doing something today down there.
Yep. So Steve Williams has to go check out the space, just as a, for what he does as fire marshal. But then, she'll be good to go.
Okay. I see the gal who had the, what is it? Over by Richard's Jewelers. They've got signage all up.
Yeah, and she'll be opening soon.
And they've restarted construction on the convenience store across from the West End Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, there's been several building permits that have come on that. So
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got another dumpster full of stuff already, so they're tearing stuff apart.
Right.
Okay, is that pretty much the pulse of what's happening? Okay. All right. So tonight, as I mentioned, we're going to focus on the POCD because we've got a light schedule and we're way overdue to get this thing handled. Pam has done a nice job of putting a draft together in a Word document. And hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to take a look at that. How I'd like to start this is go back through actually my paperwork that I had on January 11th, where we had a meeting and I had an outline of what we would like to do in a proposed, and I'm just going to refresh everybody's memory on it. I don't know if you remember that. This is January 11th meeting. And I went through it and just summarized the different sections that everybody was going to take responsibility for. But then down onto the maps, we've got a sewer service map area that hasn't changed. The state plan, that's something, and the regional plan, Pam, we got to make sure how we are in harmony. I can't imagine we're not in harmony with that, but we want to just update that to make sure we're okay with that if you haven't already seen it. Watersheds, water resources, wetland soils, bedrock geology, superficial materials, soils, slopes. Those are all, none of those things have changed. Future land use, Winston, we need to update that. Obviously, we've changed our zoning. Future land use, Winchester. Again, our zoning has changed, current zoning maps for both Winston and Winchester. So we've got all that. So that doesn't have to, we don't have to deal with that. It seems like the most current data we have from CERC is 2019. That's all I have. Is that, do you have anything newer than that, Pam? Probably not, from what you've put into the material. So Pam has already done the demographics. She's updated all that business, the town-owned properties, including roads. I talked to Jen Perga. I don't think she has updated her the areas that were conserved already, Pam. She didn't send anything to you, did she?
No.
Because
No,
we've got additional properties. So that has to be updated. I don't think the state-owned properties has changed. Protected conserved lands, as I mentioned, that's got to come. I got to get that from the Winchester Land Trust. No change in cemeteries, water, wetlands, no change. Steep slopes, none of that has changed. Developed lands that really shouldn't have changed. Remaining land suitable for development in our conversation in our POCD, that's pretty straightforward. Existing zones, we just put the new zoning map in there, and the housing mix, we should use the most current recent CERC data, which I think Pam has utilized in her updates. Vision statement, I don't see a change in that. We're going to talk about it tonight page by page. So if we see anything you want to contribute to that, we will. Planning areas, I saw that pretty much is an overview of our community. I don't think it changes there. Goals for government facilities, including roads, schools, public safety. We've got a thorough letter from Chief Chief of Police, which I think we should review and incorporate. Probably Bob Geiger is not in favor of it, but I think we should be looking at that, especially in light of the potential for, Hinsdale School being occupied, and we'll have another building to be available and might be suitable for some of these things, or at least to review and look at. Peter, with all your work with the building committees and so forth, you could probably jump in on that later on. All of those things we wanted to get completed by February 28th, which we're behind, but only by a month. And most all of that stuff has been updated. Thank you, Pam. We've got a letter from EDC, which we received, and they were very kind to go through it and very thorough. So what we've got to do is come up with a draft proposed revision, which I want to talk about obviously tonight. And then from that, we'll schedule a public hearing and then notify the COG, et cetera, et cetera. So we've got a bunch of stuff to do with that. We have gotten some good results as far as participation goes, so that we'll just run through that, if you will, and then we'll get into work that Pam has done. Each of our commissioners has definitely taken some time to go through their areas of what they've decided to volunteer for. So section 2.1 and 3.1, I think, Pam, you've taken all that and implemented that in your upgrade. I had indicated that sections 4.1 and 5.1 really didn't need any modernization. Jerry, which I haven't seen anything other than what and he did put it in writing, but I don't think we've made any changes based on what his comments were, Pam. Do you recall? That was
No,
section 6.1 and 7.1.
yeah,
That was conservation. So why don't we let Jerry speak to that, because I didn't see any real changes, but we'll go through page by page on that. And John came up with some considerations in, let me just get to John's. John talked about, non-municipal community facilities and the independent order of the Redmond. That's been sold. They're trying to develop that into a theater now. So if we need to change that in our wording, as far as it's another facility that'll be independent of our non-municipal community facilities, or it will be, I guess, but they haven't titled it. I put them in contact with an architect that I've used, and so I'm sure because of the pandemic, they haven't gotten too far. And let's see, John said 8.5 transportation, fourth paragraph, last sentence. Also, there are many, that was this discussion about the undocumented paper and unpaved roads, which we've got a ton of those. Let's see. And we're going to talk about the sewer and water services into, the extension and so on. Maps, I agree with you, John, but we've got the larger size maps that are obviously available in the planning and zoning office, but in the document themselves, they're so small that you can't really, other than they're there.
Maybe we could just put a note that they're available.
Yeah, and Pam did put that in her paperwork, that the maps will be available in the planning office and on the website, because otherwise they're kind of useless, other than they've got them. Good, that was good observation. And then I sent to everybody Will Platt's contribution for with regards to the watershed around Highland Lake, and Pete Marchand chimed in on that as well, which I think was a very appropriate, because we've got other very important bodies of water in the watersheds. So we'll talk about that as we go through, if we will, page by page. Any questions on what I've already just said? But we can bring it up as we go through piece by piece. The other items here were town staff. Of course, fire marshal came up with some things, and a lot of what he came up with was really, if we did a subdivision or we did an approval in some residential development in our rural area, including something like what we're dealing with, any development up there where there's no fire hydrants and no source of water, that we ought to be thinking in terms of cisterns and the driveway width to be able to get emergency equipment up and so forth. But that's something that we don't really need to cover in the POCD. It would be something we'd be doing in our special permits and permitting up in the rural areas.
Pete, a question on that.
Yes.
I know down in New Fairfield,
Yep.
when they're out in the rural area, they were requiring anything that had 2 houses or more had to have a water storage tank.
Okay,
Now, they said that was a fire code type issue.
okay.
Now, would that come from the fire marshal, or do we have to put that in our
Subdivision regs.
OCD?
I
Huh?
think I think usually it would be in the subdivision regs, right? When you say
Right,
2 houses, it would be for a new subdivision, right?
right.
So that you'd want to tweak the subdivision regs.
Yeah, and
doesn't it?
Reaching Hill Road was one of those things. I think there were 3 lots up there. And for some reason, it was in the approval to put in a cistern for that. Peter
Yeah.
knows more about it than I do, but
Yeah,
tell us,
that's,
Peter.
when I first got on planning and zoning, I had given a proposal to Steve Sadlowski and got buried somewhere for cisterns for new subdivisions. And that's where most towns have them. It's usually 3 lots or more as a subdivision. And the biggest thing with those is to address the maintenance and the maintenance of them so that they don't become a nightmare for the town to have to maintain. The
Well-
one up on Reaching Hill Road is a problem because nobody claims ownership. The property owners don't and the town doesn't.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, let's make a note of that, let's look at our subdivision regulations and put that, add that terminology in there because that's an important, very important part of this.
Yeah, as far as the cistern goes though, Pete, down in New Fairfield, they required 10,000 gallon water tanks to be buried
Yeah.
Yes,
ground.
Otherwise it's frozen.
Right.
Yes.
They bury it down and then there was no worry, once it was full, that they had an alarm system like the oil tanks, if there's a leak,
Yeah, yeah.
the alarm goes off, but otherwise it holds 10,000 gallons.
Yeah.
Would that be better than a cistern?
that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's an underground cistern, usually concrete. Several companies make them prefab or they can be poured in place. And they're set up so that the fire truck can draft the water right out of them.
Okay.
So it's a buried structure.
Right.
If you
Okay.
take a ride up Forest Avenue to Reaching Hill Road, when you get to the very top of the hill, just before it turns to dirt, you'll see one on the left-hand side. You'll see the pipe sticking up out of the ground. There's a 10,000 gallon one there.
But
Okay.
but the key is nobody's taking responsibility to maintain it.
Right.
So even if you had to occasionally or seasonally check it to make sure it's number one holding water and it's available to do what you want it to do. I mean, that wound up not getting installed until the 3rd house was built, I understand.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So we need to tweak that. So that's something that we won't cover in the POCD, but it's definitely a subdivision, very important.
Right.
And as the driveway and roads that have to be constructed to, especially some of these beautiful properties in the rural area of our community, people that are trying to develop it, it'd be good to have a heads up someplace in our regulations to alert them to that, so it's not a big surprise. Okay. So the chief of police responded pretty thoroughly with regards to his, and as a matter of fact, he suggested some things with regards to her bachelor school as a possibility because it'll be basically vacated. But another thing he was talking about was something that I think, Peter, you brought up on the Hinsdale project is the ability to have a warming facility for extreme cold weather situations and have some kind of accommodation for that for the town. And he mentioned that in his response to us, which I thought was pretty thoughtful about it.
You've got several issues with the back school that You know, I mean, it's not that the expense to do it. But
Yeah.
There
I
is
don't know, it just came on.
Contaminated.
Read this.
situation.
This is what we put in the town regulation.
asbestos in it. There are structural issues with the roof supports
Yeah.
and also along the front walkway. A lot of
Yeah.
structure there with rotted members.
Okay.
And you've got an underground oil tank that needs to be replaced also. That's at least 30 years old now.
Well, some of that stuff, even if we abandon the thing and want to sell it, it'll probably have to be remediated. So,
Yes. Yeah.
but I don't think in our discussion with the POCD, it's not to locate something specifically, but
No.
if we as a commission decide that we feel it's an important consideration for future, ideas for the community, we might want to include
Yay or
that
nay on that?
discussion rather than a location. Okay. And we got the Economic Development Commission very nicely responded to, so we can, interject that. Pam, you put up thank you very much for putting that Word document together. I like the cover shot as well. That looks nice.
Thank you.
Can you bring that up on the
Yeah.
screen and we could just kind of, if we're going to make progress on this, which I want to do tonight, I'd like to go through it, and start right from the beginning, go page by page, and because I'm sure everybody has done this, looked at it, and I did certainly. So we just want to go through it. One of the things that the previous subcommittee went through was an implementation part of this, and I think that we should just discard that because we did a lot of work on it, and it was absolutely a waste of time in my estimation. What do you think, Craig? You were on that.
I was busy watching what she's doing down here at the bottom. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. We had the amount of time when we finished with the POCD work last time in 2011. We put in an implementation chapter, and I said, I think we ought to disregard it.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
It was a waste of time. We were all energized when we finished with that and pursued it by telephone, and it kind of got dropped. So.
No, I do recall that, and I do. Yes, I concur.
Okay, on 1.1, Pam. The estimated population. CERC, the paperwork that I have for CERC on it, where you had 11,000, or you had something else on it. I just changed it to 11,356, which is what they showed.
What page, George?
1.1.
Oh, okay. Right, sorry.
You're going too fast, Pam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's watching the
I
clock.
fro-
I'm getting seasick.
Sorry.
You got 10,604. This CERC data that I have is showing 11,356. So maybe we just check that one, please. And just refer to this. That's the only thing I had on that page. I don't know if anybody else had anything.
No,
I didn't have anything on 1.2. On 1.3.
George,
Yes.
on 1.2 and
Yes.
top paragraph, it had DEP supporting the state in the furtherance of its open space. It says DEP. It should be DEEP. Okay.
Oh, right. Good point. Yep.
And that was it I had.
Yeah. No, that's good. Good catch.
Other than dates, down at the bottom of it was the dates of the natural resource inventory and corridor study, which I assume have been changed. So.
Yeah, that's what I was going on 1.3 or 1-3.
Okay.
That's 2009 on the document that we've got, Pam, and that should be updated. And I don't know whether Jen has done anything with it, but let's see if we can get something, you know, a little closer. We've got more property I know that's been conserved. I don't see anything on the brief history. That's all history. Unlike some people want to keep changing that. 2.8.
Back to 2.3, George.
Yeah.
See, did you take out the Aurora Rose Estates and Wallens Hill developments? Was that taken out? Should be on page 2.3. It was in the old one.
Yeah, I think it was taken out.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to read what you'd sent, so I'm sorry. Apologize.
Actually, I just printed it out, Pam. I'm missing all the early pages of chapter 2 for some reason. Or maybe it's just not numbered right. I don't know.
I think it's not numbered, right?
It's not numbered right. Okay.
Yeah,
Because under first page of number 2.
it says 2.9 and it should
Okay,
be
yeah, it's just 2.
2.1.
So that's just a numbering thing.
Yeah,
So the second page out of the people of Winchester,
Yes.
population change.
Yeah.
We should just check that to make sure where we are, because the CERC data shows a higher population number than what we've got on there. But that's interesting, Peter, with the Aurora Rosa.
Yeah, would be on the next page.
Okay. Okay, I'm not seeing it, but I didn't pick up on the numbering, so we'll just have to correct the numbering, obviously. Okay, this is, I don't know what number this really is. I'm looking at the
just reference the number that's there and, you know, so that we can get to it and then.
well, yeah, we got a multiple 2.8. So this is the page that has state recognized affordable housing in Winchester, that chart. The housing, you know, going through to the housing. So state recognized affordable housing Winchester, there's a chart.
Hold on.
So some of these population things, we need to just review that because there's obviously a change here in the CERC data.
Well, did you see the, when we changed and increased the population,
Yeah,
the last sentence talked about a decrease in Winstead's population.
yeah, but it's increased.
Right, so that whole last sentence after that changed, that number needs probably to come out, Pam. We moved too fast and I wasn't able, but it says the town's population decreased by %.
All right, so you'll just have to let me know what you want changed.
Well, let's just verify, Pam, the most current CERC data in the population. So just highlight that, if you will, in your notes.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll use whatever's there because that's all anybody's going to, you know, question about.
Why am I having such, yeah,
Right.
give me a second. All right,
Okay. The next one I'm looking at from my observation here is it's got a chart, state recognized affordable housing in Winchester.
but what page do you have?
Well, it's all 2.8 on the thing I printed out from you.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna have.
There, I think it was, wasn't it? Oh. Type of housing units.
There,
Right
right.
here,
Yeah,
yeah.
there it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you got that all highlighted.
yeah, because nothing's been done.
Yeah, so let's just, so we can catch up on that one. And the next page to that You've got another chart at the bottom, types of jobs in Winchester.
Mhm.
That's another one. It's referring to circa 2008, so we should just update that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have anything on the next page. The next page shows on the second paragraph, grand list growth. No, I think you're going ahead too far.
Mm.
It's right after tax base stuff. Okay, tax base, then right after tax base, you went to the next page. Just above these charts, it had grand list growth.
Oh, right here. Right here.
Yeah. That's 2001 to 2008. I think if we could get a little more current information, since we're at 2021.
The next paragraph too, with the townwide reevaluation and real estate prices.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have anything on the next page. Then you got the community views and vision 3.1. I didn't have anything on the first, second, and third pages. Just noticed these things are kind of weird with the numbers. And then the planning areas is, mine's labeled 5.3, but what's in 4, which is planning areas. So we got to renumber these things. And I don't have anything, actually, I don't have anything through the green print. That's what Jerry was getting excited about. Section 6 is conservation. On page 3 of conservation, which is section 6. Okay, yeah. And I just highlighted, this second paragraph down there under strategies. It was 6.3, I think it was. This one might be numbered properly.
There it is.
Yeah, okay. It's important to note that many existing parcel boundaries are the result of history. So I really, it wasn't a comment. I probably just emphasized it because it's an accurate statement. Sorry, get carried away with my highlighting here. 6.5 on the top paragraph where it starts with although. Let me see where you are. You are on 6.5.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm looking for the number.
Oh, wait a minute. You're on 6.5. So we just go back to the top of that. I made some changes. So let me see. Maybe I've shifted something around here. It says, although there has been no indication of widespread septic failures. This is under.
Right here. Oh,
Yep.
sorry.
Back down. There. I saw it.
Sorry. It's, I gotta move you people. Hold on.
All right. It's under, reduce water pollution, that paragraph.
There it is, although.
Although, okay. All right. At the end of that, I would just say and I'm wanting comments from everybody that's sitting here tonight. I suggest that the town sewer and water commission should be encouraged to expand its user base to help protect the town's water quality. And I bring that up. I'm sitting on sewer and water. We've got a sewer and water system that has excess capacity. I mean, serious excess capacity. It's got a sewer and water growth map that we have part of our records. And we're finally, after 20 plus years, we're granting an extension to the Mallory Brook, which is in failure mode. But why are we not expanding within our community, to residential areas that are not served and yet would not cost anything more to operate the facilities? It would be an extension of lines. So I suggest that we put in this document that the town sewer and water commission should be encouraged to expand its user base to help protect the town's water quality. What are the reactions of the commissioners?
Oh, I agree, George.
It's just sitting there, in too many years, nothing has been done. And I think that this is an opportunity to put it in this document, which is a planning document, and encourage that to happen. And I'm sitting on the commission. I'm going to push it myself.
Oh, you look at it, you got the Route 800 corridor down there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the same area.
Yeah.
O Street could be another example.
Exactly. There's a lot of natural expansion that we could take place. And you know what? We've got the capacity, and it's just, as a matter of fact, sitting at all our meetings, they have so many big pumps and blowers and everything else that are in the system to handle the capacity that it was designed for. And they're not utilizing that capacity. So it just makes sense. But if you're in agreement with it, let's put it in the draft and then we can get public comment.
Yeah, it should be sewer and water, Pam. Both.
Yeah, sewer and water.
Yeah.
Yep, sewer and water. Okay, 6-7, Pam. I got something here also where the paragraph starts coordination with abutting towns. Yeah, I think you went by it.
Got it. Right there.
Coordination with abutting towns is particularly important for any activity in the Lakes District watershed to ensure protection and enhancement of the mutual watershed. And it says, see that, okay, is there anything more recent than this 1990 watershed study that we're able to get through the COG, or that's just a question, Pam, if we can get something a little more up to date than 1990.
Hey, George.
Yes.
Something brought to my mind on this also is also possibly coordinating with adjoining towns for the watershed for the reservoirs also, because you've got all the Mad River starts actually in Norfolk.
Yes.
And through, and I know the town every year has Leonard Engineering survey the property for, septic systems on private property.
Oh, okay.
Now.
That's a good point, Peter. Good. Good.
A good place to put it in here, at least.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. Okay. Anybody else have anything in this particular chapter? I've got 6 point, I don't know if it's correct on the numbering, but 6-9, open space, Pam. Okay, on this, we've got a chart there that's dedicated open space. I don't think that's up to date. We've got to check with Jen Perger and the Winchester Land Trust if we could, and see if that's current. I don't think it is, because we did the South Road, the Land Trust acquisition up there. And I think they've acquired some other property, and I think Winchester, the Highland Lake Watershed Association has also. And the town might have acquired some properties as well. So we should get that one updated.
Some of that may be available on their website too, George.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Okay. I'm just going through your pages, Pam, that you had supplied to us. I'm all the way up to 619, which is architecture and design. Okay, there you are. Okay, in this, under the visually, the downtown, it's on there, it is recommended that the town establish architectural guidelines or review, et cetera, we have established an architectural review commission. So I think that we ought to, we don't need to continue that kind of requirement because we've already got that.
Last sentence, Pam.
It is recommended the town establish.
Second paragraph, yeah.
Yeah. There
Right
it is.
there.
Yeah, take that out of there.
George, do you want to insert that we presently have an architectural review committee?
Well, it doesn't hurt because it points them, if anybody's looking at this, which people do reference it. So that's probably a good idea, Peter, to put that in there, Pam, that we have an architectural review to support the architectural and design integrity of the community. Excellent. And then down under however, you can correct that a couple paragraphs down. Yeah. So correct that because we do have that, or eliminate it.
Eliminate.
Yeah. Okay, the next page.
How about addressing this? I'm sorry, before we go.
Go ahead. Yes, Pam.
Because recent sidewalk improvements also, because
Yeah, we did get the, yeah.
Bob and I talk about, too bad we couldn't use some of this money that's coming into town to support, to loan, to incentivize homeowners downtown area to do their sidewalks. Bristol has a program that subsidizes that. We've talked about, Bruce Stratford has talked about, or at least about, if there was any chance that we could use small cities money solely for sidewalk replacement. Steve Sadlowski had done a sidewalk study before he left.
Yeah.
But, I think it was probably about 10 years ago, Marcia Sterling got us a grant for sidewalks that weren't even downtown. It was, in different areas that the sidewalks were pretty bad. And she got a grant for that.
Yeah.
But what happened? So what happened, Art?
Well, the sidewalks were all redone.
Oh, really? Okay, so something followed up because most of the sidewalks are privately owned. And this has been done to downtown area. But you think about now with Hinsdale being redone and with Pearson, with those downtown school districts or
Yes.
locations, You know,
Yeah.
Susan and I will a lot of times walk in that whole area, and the sidewalks are atrocious.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of interesting if we could come up with a program. I know a lot of towns that I've been familiar with, Saranac Lake, New York, they raised money. They got funding grants from the federal government, and they replaced, I think, almost every sidewalk in their downtown area.
Well, we did. The sidewalks that went up towards the senior center, that was the funded, Marcia got the grant due for persons with disabilities, a special grant to redo sidewalks for the disabled around the housing areas.
Yeah. I'm totally in support of that if we can do it, because I think the typical homeowner is not going to invest money in the sidewalks unless somebody gets hurt. But if we can put something in there to try to guide the town government to do something to improve the walkability, because that's part of what we have in our terminology throughout the document about the downtown districts and the walkability of our community. So it's important. And the kids going to school, I mean, it's unbelievable how nice that would be to have good, safe sidewalks.
Yeah, serious.
All right. You're experimenting with some wording, Pam. That's good.
Yeah, I'm just making notes here.
Yeah, well, that's good. Okay, I've got something on 620. There's a list of it starts off with Gilbert Clock Factory.
Yeah.
Okay, there. And we've had a recent, in addition to that list, Jim Rollins was worked to get a historic designation for part of our infrastructure for the sewer and water, or the waterworks. So I don't know if you could just check on that and then get the proper wording on it. He made an application based on an application for grants for improvement to our waterworks facilities, the dams, and the tunnels between Peter, you know better about how this water system works than I do.
Crystal Lake and Rug Brook Reservoir.
Yeah. That tunnel there is very historic.
The two reservoirs, the tunnel, and the water system in general, the way it was.
So that's been approved. So we should add that because it's extremely important for us. It has an impact on our grant applications too, that we're receiving that kind of recognition.
Okay.
623. This is again about the architectural review, adopt design review. There it is. So we've got an architectural review. It's obviously it's suggested, it's not mandatory, but that we've got that.
But we don't have formal standards. They have, that was a great group.
That's a good point. Yeah.
The chairman, has, a good background. He's local. He restored he did his own historic preservation of his own home, and he's a good resource. And then the Fenningers, she has definitely, landscaping background, so they I'm very proud of that commission, how well and welcoming and helpful and nice their suggestions are, but yet, they definitely will make suggestions if someone comes in with a plan that's lacking. They're going to comment and that, but
why don't we change so that we're not establishing a design review process, but we need to establish standards for this. So if we can reword that somehow.
Yeah.
That's a good observation.
Yep.
Okay. Next thing I had, well, you finished that now.
Okay.
Okay, the next thing I had, anybody else have anything with regards to this chapter?
No.
Okay. I've got 7.2 strategies to enhance community structure. Okay, I've got at the top of page 7.2, update zoning to promote a traditional mixed use downtown. I think we did that.
So you want to take that whole thing out?
Well, you know, it's talking about the height, 30 feet.
Right.
Obviously, we've got 4 stories or 3 stories, whatever. You know, so we're talking about much higher. So I don't know whether we need to. The top section, the first paragraph, I don't think we need in there. Zoning should be updated and ensure provisions facilitate redevelopment, infill, and mixed uses. We've got that in our downtown, our town center. And our for as far as the height for downtown, I don't think we've limited our height to 30 feet, did we?
No.
Believe so.
I don't either, but anyway, we've got 30 feet in other zones, which is pretty high.
Right.
I mean, 2 floors in a commercial building is usually around 22 or 23 feet. So I don't know whether we need to have something in there about that or not. What are your thoughts?
I just take the whole thing out.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah, you did this.
I don't think it's doing any good for us, frankly.
No, I shouldn't even bother with it.
Yeah. 7.5 is the next thing I have, if anybody doesn't have anything before that. The enhanced shoreline neighborhoods.
7.5.
Enhance the shoreline neighborhoods. That's at 7.5. There it is.
There it is.
I just highlighted preserving vacant town-owned lots as open space. See Chapter 6, and addressing parking. See Chapter 8 can help enhance these areas. What's everybody's thoughts about this at the along our lake, our water bodies? Do we want to preserve vacant town-owned lots as open space for parking? Unless I'm just reading the next part of that is that's what the intention.
I would just leave it as preserving vacant town-owned lots as open space,
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and that's what both Will and Peter brought up in their contribution that I sent to everybody, which I think is extremely important. We've talked about that. I know when I was sitting on the Board of Selectmen too, we've got so many of these paper lots that are in the watershed for Highland Lake, but there's other properties that are around, you know, up at Park Pond and, you know, Winchester Lake. If we have anything available that could contribute to protecting those bodies of water, I think we ought to have it as overall guidance in our document. Everybody see the thing that Will had sent and that Peter had sent, I think I sent it to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me grab it. Okay. You just took his and went further, Peter, right?
Yes, I just added that down at the bottom. I left a word or two out, but
Yeah.
the idea is any town-owned property, not just around the lake, there should be reservoirs and everything.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of adding what Peter contributed to Will's. I think that's an important part of this as an overall master plan objective here. Once they're gone, and we can see the high level of development, which people are really spending a lot of money, especially at Highland Lake, and it's going to happen in our other bodies of water as well. That they like to develop it, they like to put in beautiful lawns and landscaping and so forth, and the next thing you know, we've got contribution to the deterioration in the quality of water because of fertilizers and runoff, et cetera, et cetera. So if we can keep some of these things in greenery, the whole root structure and holding back water and filtration of it as it goes toward the water is really important. Can't replace these guys after they're gone.
No.
So if everybody's in agreement with that, we'll incorporate that combination of wording, Pam, into this. Okay, you're ready to go on?
Yeah.
7.6 or 7-6. It says the zoning regulations should be revised to promote and support these goals. That should just be removed. And then on 7.7, similar, at the bottom of the that list, it's shown to update zoning to allow so forth. We have that in our regulations. Thank you, Desegregate Connecticut. They ought to look at our zoning regulations.
Yeah.
That's all I have for chapter 7. Yeah. Jumping over to 8.1 if nobody's got anything in between.
Oh. Well, aren't you having that party for Bronin next week?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, George.
Yeah, right. God. Hey, listen, this is an aside, and Pam was involved too. We were listening to this. This is back with the virus thing and the working out the outside dining. And unless I remembered it incorrectly, this Bronin, who she's a professor at UConn, one of the things she was talking about was the outside dining. So if you've got an area that's outside, you can go ahead and expand you can go ahead and put your dining out there under this executive order, as long as you keep your spacing, the 6-foot spacing and so forth.
Right.
And and Pam, I think you were listening too, that she said, for instance, a Walmart, with those huge parking lots, they could really have some kind of a big seating area. And then when they came out with it later, they said your outside seating couldn't exceed 50% of your inside capacity. Well, what the hell does that have to do with your outside? I mean, it was goofy.
Yeah.
It was just goofy.
I mean, if you can accommodate, I can see where they might be worried, on something that might accommodate, like say something like the AquaTurf in Southington, where, you can have 1,000 people, and say the AquaTurf was on a larger parcel.
Yeah.
You'd have to limit it somehow. So limit it to what a business can otherwise have inside. Let them go 100% occupancy if it allows the parcel. But to hold it to 50%.
On your inside occupancy, it made no.
Crazy.
So right away I said, uh-oh. we got a real problem with this thought process. Jesus.
Right.
All right, 8.1. Under infrastructure, town administration services and public safety. I think if we could take,
Right, well, Pam, right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
if we could add the information with regards to what Chief Fitzgerald has sent us with some suggestions. And I talked to him personally about it. I says, we're not going to recommend that location, but the need for this is whether we should be considering it. So I want, our commissioners to think in terms of it. But one of the things that I know Peter had brought up for the Hinsdale thing is a warming center. There's some other opportunities if you have, that might not be Bachelor, but if we're going to do something with a public safety complex, we might want to incorporate some other things like a warming center,
I thought,
a meeting facility.
I think George maybe worded as a strongly suggest or urge upgrade the existing facilities for fire and police
Yes.
to more modern standards and also to a facility to be used as emergency shelter.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
Because right now, all they have, is the senior center, Winchester Firehouse and Grange. And other than that, they're trucked off to Torrington to the East School.
Yeah. Which is unacceptable. With our level of population, we should have something here. Yeah. Okay.
but I thought we talked about that at the Hinsdale School, and she said there is no way to do that.
Not there. Not
Not there.
there.
No,
There
and
is-
she said as part of her budget.
Yeah.
But,
There's there's no way the state will reimburse the town to do that.
So she
Right.
wanted, I think she was suggesting that if if that was a town priority, then the
Right.
town ought to pony up,
Right.
Whatever would be necessary to have that there as a emergency shelter.
Right.
Right, the school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hinsdale. It's not that
Right.
it couldn't incorporate it. It just couldn't incorporate it into the, the
Yeah,
budget
right.
that she had available.
Yes, and the state would not reimburse for it.
Right. Right.
Plus, the school is being set up for a certain age children, which means the facilities are probably going to be a little different than what we would need for adults.
Right.
Okay. On 8.2 under public schools, we should somehow, I met with Melanie in October, and I've never received any responses from, she said she'd have it before January. I know she's had her hands full with everything that she's going on and then the budget and so forth. But we should update the public school section to reflect what's going on with, Hinsdale. And so I don't know if we can get something from the, from her office and supplement this so it's more accurate to what's going on, Pam.
Yeah, I mean, we should have a thing in there that says that we're upgrading the school to a brand new facility.
Yeah.
Should be something in there.
Yeah. But we should get some terminology from her office. They'd be able to define it properly for us. And
Right, because, grades 9 through 12 are not, are at Gilbert. Actually, there's 7 through 12 are at Gilbert now.
exactly. Yep. Okay. Under non-municipal community facilities, we should add the new Hartford Healthcare.
Yeah, the other day they had 3 helicopters come in and out.
Did they? Yeah.
What was it, Saturday, honey? Yeah, Saturday.
Right over our house. Really enjoyed
Well,
it.
the other thing, Art, I think you're right, because Saturday I heard the helicopter. I thought it was Lifestar, but it was actually a commercial type, more of a corporate that must have gone in there and out for some reason. Maybe it was some of the officials. I don't know.
I know they were real loud right over the top of my
Yeah,
house.
but they had, well, it's moved down your neighborhood now, but they had a serious crash on 179 in Barkhamsted, I think, that somebody was a fatality.
Yeah.
Oh,
We had one Monday up on 263 late in the afternoon that Lifestar came in for at the health center.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, boy.
Yeah, a week ago.
Well, at least it's good it's there.
And one coming from
Okay.
downtown. Another one going towards Torrington.
All right, let's see. The next thing I had was 8.4.
Hey, George, before you
Yeah,
go,
go ahead.
do you want to include this about Winston Memorial Hospital?
Well,
Do you wanna
that's what
put
I'm
that
that's what I'm wanting to talk about right now. No,
Yeah.
that should be out of there. That's
Yeah,
actually, I didn't highlight it on that page. I had it on the next page, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, that should come out of there. And at the bottom of that Winston Memorial Hospital, the historical part of that, I mean, it's still there and it's still doing something, but the challenge for the future,
yeah.
yeah, it should be eliminated. That's just a historical, because they still have something of the they've still got certain aspects of it up there. But it's not like it was.
I thought they were going to renovate that for low income housing.
Yeah, no, I've talked to the first district congressman there, Larson, and I tried to get some interest going with the veterans to have a housing area there. We've got almost 15,000 square feet at 2 floors, 7,700 square feet in each floor. And I don't know, he's too involved with Pelosi, I guess. I didn't get much reaction from him. But because they've still got Quest up there. They've still got a sleep study area there.
Yep.
They've got a couple of offices up there, but I don't see it's going to last long. 8.5. This is again related to that. It's got support non-municipal community facilities in Winchester. We should take that bottom section off of there that says the town should continue to support the provision of health services at the Winston Health Center site, because it's really nothing really going on there.
No. The only thing that's up there is the VA and the sleep center and a couple others.
Yeah, Quest Diagnostics, they're there, which is an independent operation. Charlotte gave that up to Quest. I guess they're supposed to eventually, they're talking about moving them down to South Main Street, but I don't know.
There, George,
Yeah.
there is also a Quest lab in the basement of South Main Street.
Oh, there is?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They're in the lowest level in the basement.
Yeah, that's where they've got the physical training or therapy section as well.
Our recovery area and everything. Yes.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's good.
There is a Quest lab there.
All right, didn't know that. Good information. Okay, strategies for utilities.
Can we get Eversource to give us power back?
This is 8.8, Pam.
I think they screwed up. I don't know. I got a bill in, not a bill, but a credit for $125 from Eversource.
Don't look that into it. When do you get a credit for them? Holy mackerel.
Yeah, $125 credit.
Put it in a plaque. Under strategies for utilities, maintain adequate water and sewer service in the service areas. I just want to reiterate what we said earlier. at the end of that, under strategies for utilities, I would add extension of services within the proposed growth areas as indicated on the sewer and water service map should be encouraged. So the sewer and water service area map should be encouraged. Yep. Because we think we've talked about, we set up the gateway and that whole Route 800 corridor. I mean, obviously, we talked about that when the Aurora Estates was going on, and
Right.
it was going to get extended there, and they were going to do booster pumps and so forth. So it's an area that I think would be appropriate to put it into this document. That's all really I had on my comments. Anybody else have more they want to add or take off?
The
I
stuff
think
that
if we
came-
can, I don't know how your timing goes with what you've got going on and what we talked about tonight, Pam. I'll call Jen, I'll text her tonight, actually, Perga, and see if we can get an update on the conservation areas. And because I'd like to see us have a draft put together for our next meeting. Is that unrealistic? I mean, you've got everything right now in this document. There's just a few things to change. What's your thoughts, Pam?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm honest, if anything, maybe.
All right.
Yeah, yep.
All right. Let's
You know,
try
let-
that.
yeah, the things when you give it to me, that's no problem. It's just the stuff that I might
No,
have.
yeah, you got a lot of other distractions. I know.
Yeah.
That's what happens with the town hall when they eliminate a bunch of positions. Jesus Christmas. All right, but if you can get that rolling and then just keep us posted, because I'd like to see us, if we can at that point, then we can go ahead and send it off to
Like the show living room.
the longest term notices to the COG, I think, isn't it? Was it 65 days or something?
Hmm.
And so if we can do that, we can get them from the, legislative requirements here, get that running.
Hmm.
When do we have the meeting, George, after the COG?
Yeah, well, we'd have to get their feedback and their blessing because it's got to fit with, obviously, with the regional plan and with the state plan. We haven't really changed anything of significance, so I don't think that's going to be a big, delay.
Time delay.
Yeah,
So what, we're looking maybe May for a public hearing?
that's probably what it would wind up being, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's got to be 65 days, I think, before the public hearing that we send it to them. And it gives them that much time. And then there's another, I've got the chart here. I forget where I put it now. Okay. If that's acceptable, let's get that rolling. Everybody in agreement?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other issues tonight for everybody?
Do you have Will's number? And give him
Will?
a call to see how everything is?
Yeah, I do actually. Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. This sounded like it was pretty sudden, so. Why am I not finding it here? Hold on a minute.
Yeah, we're live streaming on YouTube and
All right,
it'll be
you know,
recorded, so
I'll
maybe
text it. Yeah,
email
let me,
it to him, yeah.
I'll text it to you, Art,
Okay.
so that we don't broadcast it. Okay, if we don't have anything else, thanks everybody for all your input. We've certainly, we've dragged this out, not intentionally, but we've got, everybody has really responded, I think, very nicely. So we should be able to put this to rest. And then, you know, this document doesn't end when we finish getting it approved for this time. We have some key issues we want to revisit. We could just go ahead and do it and pick out a section that needs, you know, retouching. But
Right.
we're smart to do this so that we don't jeopardize the potential for getting money into the community because we haven't gotten the POCD done by our legislative requirement. So, all right, we need a motion to adjourn.
So be it.
Peter, we got
I'll
a
second
second?
it.
Okay, we got a second. All in favor, just raise your hand. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe and healthy.
Care, Pam.
Take care.
Right.
Thanks, Pam.